All right, let's talk about something that I'm pretty sure has crossed almost everyone's mind at some point. Can I get taller? It's a question we've all wondered about. Well, today we are going to dive straight into the science of height and figure out what's real and what's just, well, wishful thinking. Let's get into it.
I mean, this is the big one, isn't it? Whether you're a teenager just hoping for one last growth spurt or an adult who wouldn't mind an extra inch or two, the feeling is pretty universal. So what does the science really have to say about this? Can we actually do anything to influence our final height?
To really get to the bottom of this, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with that ultimate question. Then we'll look at your body's actual growth blueprint. After that, we'll explore the specific window you have for growth, how to fuel your absolute maximum potential, and finally, what you can do once you're an adult.
Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, the ultimate height question. You know, the idea of being taller is so often tied to confidence, maybe even some advantages in life. But how much control do we actually have over it?
So here's the absolute bottom line. Your genes are the main architect here. They pretty much lay out the blueprint and set an upper limit for how tall you can be. But, and this is a huge but, your lifestyle choices, things like what you eat and how you sleep, that's your construction crew. They're the ones who determine whether you actually build yourself up to the full height that's written in that blueprint.
So, how exactly does that construction crew get the job done? Well, that brings us right to Section 2, your body's growth blueprint. To really understand how to maximize our height, we got to look under the hood, at the actual machinery of growth. It's this incredible dance between our bones, our hormones, and of course, time.
At the very heart of how we grow taller are these things called epiphyseal plates. You've probably heard of them as growth plates. Just think of them as these little construction zones at the ends of your long bones, like in your legs and arms. All through your childhood and teen years, they are just churning out new bone, literally making you taller. But these construction zones don't stay open for business forever. So what gives the signal to shut down the construction site? Well, the main signal comes from the hormone estrogen. And this is true for both young men and women. As puberty kicks into high gear, rising estrogen levels basically tell those growth plates, all right, time to harden up and close down. It's the body's way of saying, okay, we've reached maturity, let's shift our focus. And once those plates fuse, that's pretty much it for getting any significantly taller.
This whole idea of growth plates closing leads us perfectly into Section 3, the window for growth. Because they eventually close, there's a very specific and very critical period of time when your body is just primed to get taller. Let's take a closer look at that timeline.
As you can see, the timing is a little bit different for everyone. For girls, that big growth spurt usually kicks off somewhere between 12 and 14, and then things slow down quite a bit after about 18. For boys, the spurt tends to happen a little later, more like 13 to 16, and they can actually keep growing until their plates fuse, which can be as late as 21.
Okay, so if you are still inside that growth window, this next section is absolutely for you. Section 4 is all about fueling your maximum potential. We're going to talk about the 3 essential pillars that support your body's growth.
These are the big 3, the heavy hitters. A balanced diet with the right nutrients, getting enough quality sleep to keep your hormones happy, and the right kinds of exercise and posture. Let's break down each one, starting with what you're eating.
It's simple, really. You can't build a tall, strong skyscraper with shoddy materials. Your body's no different. Calcium is the #1 building block for strong bones. But here's the catch. Your body can't really use that calcium without vitamin D. They're a team. And then there's zinc, another major player that's super important for your overall growth and development. All right, on to pillar number 2, sleep. And wow, this quote from the National Institutes of Health really just says it all. It confirms that our bodies release a huge surge of growth hormone, the hormone that literally stimulates growth while we're in deep sleep. So it's not just about getting sleep, it's about getting that good, deep sleep.
So how do we make sure we get that hormone release? It's all about creating the perfect environment. For teens, that's a solid 8 to 10 hours a night. And sticking to a consistent schedule, yep, even on weekends, helps your body's internal clock. And a huge one for all of us, limiting screen time before bed. It helps your brain wind down and get ready for that deep, restorative sleep. Now, while we're talking hormones, we have to mention a really powerful growth inhibitor, stress. When you're constantly stressed out, your body pumps out a lot of a hormone called cortisol. You can think of cortisol as hitting the brakes on your body's growth system. It actively suppresses the release of growth hormone. So managing your stress isn't just a nice idea, it's a critical part of the growth puzzle. Okay, but what if your growth plates have already done their thing and closed up? Does that mean the conversation's over? Not a chance. Let's get into our final section, Section 5, Standing Tall as an Adult. The goal just changes a bit. We shift from growing taller to maintaining the height we have. This slide lays out that shift perfectly. When you're a teen, it's all about fueling your bones to get longer. But as an adult, the game changes to preservation. And you might not know this, but most people start to lose a little bit of height slowly between the ages of 30 and 50. So the focus now is on keeping your bones dense and, just as important, working on your posture.
And this quote right here is a real wake-up call for all the adults out there. Your bone is living tissue, and it gets stronger when you use it. If you're inactive, you're basically sending a signal to your body that strong bones aren't a priority. And that can lead to a loss of bone density and, over time, a loss of height.
So the big takeaway for adults is this. Weight-bearing exercises, things like walking, running, lifting weights, they tell your bones to stay strong. Paying attention to your posture can actually prevent the spinal compression that can make you seem shorter. All those nutrition rules still apply, especially getting enough calcium and vitamin D to fight off osteoporosis. And of course, avoiding things that hurt your bones, like smoking and too much alcohol, is key for the long run.
So we started this whole journey by asking how to get taller. But what we really learned is that the very same habits that help you reach your maximum height potential are the exact same habits that build a healthier, stronger, and more resilient body. And maybe, just maybe, the real goal isn't just about a number on a measuring tape. Maybe it's about the strength and health you build along the way. And isn't that a greater measure of stature?